did start.
Hey, I'm Mark Roberts, Rod Teddy Rinks, and this is Davey Dave, and we're on Let's Get Into Entertainment.
The business of entertainment.
What
Dude.
kind of an intro was that?
Dude, that's the way you do it. It's Mark Roberts, and this is Let's Get Into Entertainment.
Jeez, what do we
The business of entertainment.
We did it twice. That's how good we are.
You're feeling good right now, aren't you, Robert?
I do. I feel good. I'm excited about today's show. We got Mickey Gooch coming on. And if you're listening, this is the first time we've ever had an investor, a real investor. Yeah. I mean, I think he sold his company for, he'll never admit it, but I'm going to say it anyway, $1 billion. I mean, I'm talking, if it's not $1 billion, it's really close.
Close to it.
But this guy was a Wall Street guy. He's an executive producer on stuff. He invests in stuff. So this is exciting.
I've wanted to get this guy on since the beginning of the show. Before the show started.
Yeah. He's also our partner in Casa Mexico tequila.
Yeah.
So this is a real investor, the real deal. I hope he tells the story, or I think we should tell the story of when I pitched him Feliz NaviDAD, because it was the day Mario came up with it on the escalator. Yeah. And that night I was going to dinner with Mickey. And
to talk about Casa Mexico.
To talk about
you guys were already in business.
Yeah, we were talking about Casa Mexico and what's going on with that, what his plans were and all that. So we're at the Palm in Beverly Hills. We're at the bar. We had dinner. It's time to go. And he looks up and goes, "What else are you up to? What are you doing?" I said, "Well, it's funny you ask. You know, I was just in at Universal on the escalator, and Mario said Feliz NaviDAD, and we're going to do a movie called Feliz NaviDAD about a single father who, you know, loses the Christmas spirit and has a daughter, and daughter tries to get him into dating, and boom."
You know what that is, Dave? That's high motherfucking concept.
So I tell him that, and he's like, "Wait a minute. Do you guys have an investor for that?"
Come on,
no, I'm
Robert.
not kidding.
It didn't go that smooth.
This is how smooth it went.
Jesus.
He said, who are you guys doing with that
Silky,
with?
You're silky.
I said, "We're not doing it with anyone yet. He just thought about it like 3 hours ago." And he said, "Well, I want in on that."
Damn.
Come on.
And Mickey Gooch became our partner on Feliz NaviDAD. Hey, we'll be right back with Mickey Gooch on Let's Get Into Entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Let's Get Into Entertainment. Did you hear that when I said ladies and gentlemen? It was all just ladies and gentlemen.
Let's get
it was like Elvis Presley.
Have another one.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Let's Get Into Entertainment, or welcome back, really, I should say. Tootie,
welcome back.
Thanks for being here. We got David Dave on the ones and twos.
What up?
Always.
And we've got Mickey Gooch on hold here, but you know, Mickey Gooch is a real investor, a real dude. What I want to find out is he still involved in making movies, or has he moved on from that? It's been a rough year. I think I'll be curious to hear what he's up to, what he's been working on. And
I have a feeling
whatnot.
he's going to finance some of my stuff, Davey Dave, which means you're in too. You know,
are you going to pitch him today?
My man.
I'm not going to pitch him today. I won't pitch him today.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, I got some high concept shit coming up.
I got Mickey Gooch on hold here, but you know, this is the real deal. This is someone who has been on Wall Street, sold a company, has made himself very comfortable, and I feel like he invests in just about whatever he feels like investing in.
You know what that is, Roberts?
What is that?
Freedom, baby.
All right. Well, let's see.
He gets to do what he likes. That's what I'm talking about.
American dream.
Yeah, the American dream, right? Let's find out. Hey, Mickey, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
There he is. Well, welcome to Let's Get Into Entertainment. You and I have quite a history here, so let's get started with where you are at now in the world.
I'm in Florida right now.
Are you on a boat?
Oh, nice.
No, I have a home here in Florida, in Delray Beach.
You have homes everywhere, right? You have a home in Beverly Hills. Do you have a home in New York?
Well, actually, I just sold the house that I had in Beverly Hills, and I just sold the house that I had in Montecito. Those sales went through recently, so I'm pretty much getting out of California at this point.
Yeah, so is everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I've have access to an apartment in New York City that I stay in occasionally, but primarily I'm a Florida resident.
I think let's go down to Florida. I'm down to go to Florida. Let's start a production company out of Florida, studios, the whole bit, tax incentives, the whole thing. Come on, Roberts.
Hey, it's not up to me. I'm not the one with the money.
Oh, come on, you're the one who's producing over here.
Hey, but I'll say this: what's remarkable about having you on the show, Mickey, and you know, just to remind people, you know, the show's really all about independent filmmaking. It's about entrepreneurs, people that get involved in the business and end up somewhere else and make great lives for themselves. But you never know the road you're going to take, and entertainment is known for taking you down some weird roads. But tell us how you got your start.
I was going to be an accountant. That was my plan in life when I was a teenager, but I ended up getting into the brokerage business, actually what they called money broking. I ran into a few people that knew some money brokers, and these are guys that arrange transactions in FX, foreign currencies, and money market deposits between banks and big institutions, and they call them money brokers. So when I was like 19 years old, I thought being a money broker sounded fantastic,
How at 19 did you even hear about money brokering?
Well, I was working to be an accountant, and I joined a firm of accountants locally where I live. I would have become what's known in the UK as a chartered accountant, somewhat similar to a CPA here in the US. And one day I was driving, my little Morris to work and past a train station, and there was this beautiful E-Type Jaguar. It's probably like 1974 E-Type Jag. It was lilac color, convertible with white wall tires, and it was just the most amazing looking car I'd ever seen. And, when I got to work, I mentioned it, and two of the older guys at the office said to me, "Oh yeah, that belongs to Ian Johnson. He's a money broker." And it just intrigued me. I said, I need to find out what these money brokers are.
That's pretty incredible. So then what was your next move? I mean, from accountant to money broker, how'd you make that jump?
Well, I made some inquiries through these two guys. They knew some people, obviously. Scheduled some job interviews up in the city. And I think I interviewed at 2 or 3 firms, and one of them offered me a job, so I just grabbed it. And that put me, as what they call a trainee on the desk in London. And I'd only been there a few months when the boss, he was sitting there one lunchtime, and he was on the phone to the New York office talking to some guy over there. And I think they told him that the company apartment was going to be empty for a few weeks, and he just started looking around the room. And fortunately for me, it was lunchtime, and a lot of guys had left the office, and he's looking around, and he looks over at me and says, "Hey, Gooch, you want to go to New York?" And I'm like, "Sure, when?" He goes, "This weekend." And that was it. I went to New York.
Right place, right time.
Exactly. I've often joked that if I'd been in the men's room when that phone call came in, I would never have gone to New York. Well, not at that point in time anyway.
Yeah.
And what happened in New York?
Well, then I arrived in New York, and I was only supposed to be in New York for like 6 weeks. It was really sort of a training thing. So I, came in just as a trainee, just to check out the New York office. And then, I got along really well with some guys that were trading the Canadian dollar, and they took a liking to me, and they, at the time, wanted to expand their Canadian business, and they thought that I would be a good fit for their desk. So they offered me a full-time job to stay in New York. So after a 6-week visit, I ended up signing on to work in New York full-time.
Opportunity presents itself when you're there, and right place at right time. Yeah. If he, like you said, if he would have been in the men's room, he wouldn't have got that opportunity. And once he got to New York, he made the connection with those Canadian guys because he's a cool guy and he knew what he was doing. And boom, there you go.
By the way, that is why this work from home thing is not going to actually be what people do all the time in the future. Because if you're working from home, you're not getting in front of people. Yep. You're not going to get promoted. I mean, maybe in some technology-based businesses where all that matters is your performance. But any normal business environment where EQ is important and opportunity is important, you need to be in front of people. You need to be at the office. You need to be meeting and greeting. You need to, get out with your clients and meet people.
Well, that's even like our podcast. We used to do in person at the Pink Taco. It was great. We'd have some beers. The people would come in, the guests, we would eat. I'd eat chips. It was awesome. And now we're doing
Casa
it on
Mexico.
It was flowing. Now it's just, us fools right here talking smack, and then we get on a phone call, which is great and it's working, but it's not the same.
I'm sure when the timing is right, you'll go back to the in-person interviews at the Pink Taco.
And then you're going to come in and be in person at Pink Taco, have some Casa Mexico with us.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Mickey, just to fast forward through the next piece, I'm guessing that you became very, very successful with the company that you worked with, and then eventually opened up your own firm.
Yep, I opened a firm. I was 28 at the time, I think. I opened a brokerage company, and we grew to be, one of the leaders in the field of derivative broking. Derivatives. Some of your listeners may have heard of interest rate swaps and currency options and things like that, and credit derivatives.
Yeah,
we got very involved with that part of the market, and my company grew to be quite successful. And then back in 2015, I ended up selling it to a competitor. We merged effectively.
That's an amazing story.
Wow. Yeah, 1987 is when I launched the company. And I merged it with the competitor in 2015.
Obviously, you did extremely well with the sale of your company. Did you have a non-compete?
Yeah, I'm subject to a non-compete even now as we speak. I mean, I remained with the company for 3 years after the merger. I was the vice chairman for 3 years. And then at the end of the 3 years, I decided to not remain any longer. And right now, under my current no-compete, I can't go directly back into that business.
Right.
But I've got no interest in going back into it anyway, so that doesn't bother me too much.
I follow Mickey on IG like you guys do, and he's not. I see you on the boats. I see you at the dinners. It's nice. Gavin gets to go, that rat bastard.
Gavin.
So you sold your company, and here's what people really want to hear about. We've never had an investor on this show before. And, a bunch of independent filmmakers listen to it. A bunch of entrepreneurs listen to it. How did you get into film? I know that your son is a director, producer. He's an actor as well. Yeah. But how did you get into the business? Did your son get you into it? Who got you interested in show business and producing films? And at what point did that happen?
Well, for me, the very earliest thing that happened was I had a young woman trainer. She used to come and give me personal workouts in the afternoon, a couple of days a week at my office. And I would just go run on the treadmill for 20 minutes, and she would talk to me whilst I was running on the treadmill, and then make me do one or two sort of easy exercises. And I joked that she was more of a therapist than a trainer, because we would talk about so much stuff. And one time I was telling her some experience I'd had with my oldest son and some funny circumstances, and I joked that, wow, this would make one of those really funny Hollywood movies, And she said, well, my husband is a screenwriter. And turns out her husband is an actor and screenwriter. He was friends with Brad Pitt, and he'd been in that movie Fight Club, amongst other things. And she hooked me up with him, and we wrote the screenplay. It was the first time I'd ever done anything like that. I got some software that he recommended, and he really did all the work, to be frank. I just kind of gave him my thoughts and ideas surrounding the circumstances of my son and the family. And we wrote this script, and we ended up bringing it out to Los Angeles, where we met up with one of his friends who was an actor, a guy called Holt McCallany. He's on that show right now. I forget the name of the show, but it's a really good.
I know
really
him.
Good one about two FBI agents.
Yeah, good actor.
I think you know the one, right?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
So he introduced us to his manager, who was at Mosaic at the time, and we, talked long and hard about making this film, but never did, funnily enough. But then, as a result of those connections, I ended up getting involved with one or two productions, and one of those productions actually was the first role that my oldest son ever had in a movie. It was called Cougars Inc. I still think we'll make that movie one day, the one that I told you about.
You have to.
Well, you're on with Mark Ice Roberts, who's notorious, infamous, famous, all the above.
Nefarious.
Oh, there we go. That's the word I was looking for. Nefarious. I went down the list.
Well, Mickey and I have worked together.
You got a proven track record. You've made some bad things, but you've also made some really good things.
Oh, thank you.
At least you can admit it.
Back to Mickey. So you wrote that script and you got involved in other films, be it as a financier or as an executive producer or both. How and what attracts you to a project?
Well, I have to like the project. I have to think, okay, this has actually got some commercial potential. And then after that, it's really just looking at, okay, the terms and conditions. If the project has financial viability, and I like it and it sounds interesting, at that point, I might be willing to invest in some fashion. I've become smarter at it in the last few years. So I now tend to be only interested in investing, if I think there's very good certainty of success. I'm not so keen on speculation at this point.
Yeah, and it's a very speculative business. It's and it's changed a lot. There was I don't know when you started investing in film, but there was a time as a producer that I could almost guarantee you 50% of your money back because we would make an exclusive deal with Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or
Redbox.
Redbox. There was always some sort of guarantee on DVDs and
some
Blu-rays.
distribution.
I think now, right? I mean, if you're going to be financing anything, it's much better to be financing the secured stuff, right? Like the tax credit or the distribution guarantee. If you're anywhere beneath that level, you're taking substantial amount of risk.
Well, it's all risk at that. At that level, it's all risk, right? You're just shooting in the dark.
Well, what's interesting is there's so much content being created right now. Yes, we don't have the Blockbusters, the Redboxes, all those other guaranteed distributors, but there is so much content and so many platforms, and so there's such an appetite for it that more and more stuff is being made because it's getting gobbled up.
Yeah, we had a conversation about this the other day, right, Mark? There's a lot of stuff being made, but it's a very different business model to it was even a few years ago.
Yeah. Unfortunately, even Netflix and Amazon, they tend to bottom feed a little bit because now you can get your product on Amazon or Netflix or Hulu yourself, which means that they don't even have to buy it anymore. No. You put it up there and they get to say that, you're on their platform and they don't have to pay you a dime. If you make money, they'll split it with you, but that's about it. So it does become a complicated little business, but let's talk about, I tell this story at least once a week, Mickey, and I feel like I've embellished it, but tell me if I have this right.
Probably not. You're like 4 tequilas in now. You got it all wrong, Robert. Let's hear the truth. We've been hearing this for years now.
Let me just tell you, Mickey Gooch is the reason Casa Mexico tequila exists, and we'll get into that in a minute. But so I met with you and Rob Cross, and you guys said, "Hey, we're in town. We want to sit down with you, kind of tell you what's going on, see if you can help us with some things that we'd like to see happen with Casa Mexico, which we're partners in." And we decided to meet at the Palm in Beverly Hills one day. And we sat down. We had a lovely dinner. We had a couple of drinks. We chatted about Casa. I forgot what that conversation was about. But as we were getting up, you said, I love movies. What are you guys doing this day? And literally that afternoon, Mario had said Feliz NaviDAD to me. And we had said, it's going to be about a single dad. And I, as you asked me the question, we were standing there and I said to you, well, Mario just said, he wants to do this film called Feliz NaviDAD, and it's about a single dad and finds love and ends up, this happy Christmas movie. And did you actually turned to me and said, who's financing that? And if you don't have someone financing it, I want to do it.
Yeah, I remember that was something that appealed to me right away because I could see that it had commercial value.
Yeah.
Right. That was the important thing. It was a clever little play on the name Feliz NaviDAD. And as I think I mentioned before, right, it isn't just purely about making a financial return. I like to get a little involved in the creativity element of it. And I don't know if you remember this, but I don't think it was necessarily exactly my personal idea, but from sharing some discussions about that project with Melissa Bologna, who ended up with a small role in the movie.
Yes.
I think we came up with the idea of the daughter creating the dating app
That's correct.
membership for her dad.
Yes, you did.
Right, which I thought was, that was a clever little twist that I think added something to the story.
It was extremely clever, and I remember
important because that's how he meets her.
Yeah, it was super important. I remember we had dinner, you, me, and Mario, and you mentioned that, and you had mentioned that you had talked to Melissa about it, and that you guys had come up with this, and then Mario really took to it. And I think the next time we met with the writer, that was something that went into play. But you are a creative executive producer, which is rare. There's sometimes executive producers that just finance, but you did have interest in the story, and we did develop a lot of the story at the beginning with you. So that was also a good partnership, because there was no real story when we met at the restaurant. There was no real story at that point. There was just Feliz NaviDAD and Single Dad. So a lot of those conversations really ended up helping form the film.
I was going to say what I like to say, because, I've obviously now dealt with a number of writers and other producers that, have confidence in their own skill sets. And I like to say, look, okay, so I'm not a professional writer, and I've not historically produced movies. I worked on Wall Street selling stocks and bonds and currencies. But you know what? I watch movies. I watch TV. I watch movies, and I know what I like. And so, if I read a script, I think that as I read that script, I'm thinking about how that dialogue, how that is going to come across on the movie. And if it's something that wouldn't interest me to watch myself, then I'm not going to be interested in it. And so that's why, I give notes to the writers. And, I think a good writer and a good producer is willing to listen to notes, even if it's not coming from someone who supposedly historically has experience in that subject matter.
Yep,
no,
absolutely.
Well, I think I think you've had nothing but positive notes and suggestions from the beginning. The one thing that I will commend you on, and I think that a lot of investors, even a lot of filmmakers working with investors, don't get, is that when we started the process of doing Feliz NaviDAD and you got involved with the project, we hired a really great writer, Peter Murrieta and Eliza Murrieta, and they wrote a great script. The thing that was really great about your involvement is, we tried to sell it to different places, but Lifetime was the place that ended up buying it and caring about it and loving it. But the budgets at Lifetime are not the same as the budgets elsewhere. And even if we had done it independently, we probably would have spent another $1 million on the script. So the one thing that we did do is everyone ended up making a couple of dollars. I believe you ended up making your money back plus a percentage, but it wasn't the great windfall that you hope for on these films, but at least it was a win.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is that we made money, and that is a good result. I'm very satisfied that I made a profit and got paid back, which is, something that doesn't always happen in my experience. And, we've discussed it, right? I mean, even though it was sold to Lifetime, there is opportunity down the road when that license is over. You still own the intellectual property. There's potential upside down the road. So that's nice to have too.
Yeah, no, that is the positive thing about the Lifetime deal, is that we do own our IP, and we, if we decided to do a second version, we could. And you're right. In the future, we'll be able to resell that movie either to Lifetime or to another network to continue to make money off of that film for the life of the picture, or for as long as we're alive.
Yeah.
however it all works out. But by the way, Melissa was very good in the movie. She came out, she flew out and did a great job on the film. So I want you to thank her for us, or if she's listening, thank you, Melissa. You did a great job. And, the movie ended up being top 5 of 100 films or so that were released this year for Christmas. So, Mickey, thank you for being involved with it. And I think me and Mario, hopefully we get to do it again sometime, but we did a nice little script, and we ended up making a great little movie, and everyone ended up making a couple of bucks. So that's the independent world, man.
Did you see that, Dave? Did you see how he just cut us out right there? He's like, me, you, and Mario.
This is my third Christmas movie. It's looking like it's becoming like something that is in my wheelhouse.
Oh, I got a Christmas movie for you, Gooch. Johnny Holiday. I pitched it to you, Robert. You like.
So yeah, this is in your wheelhouse. Apparently, you've got a soft heart.
Yeah, that seems to be my wheelhouse.
What you said, which is interesting, and I want to leave with this thought, is that you as an investor or examine projects differently now. You are no longer willing to get involved with films that are risky or that you don't know where they're going to end up being distributed. And you have to, it sounds like you're into high concept ideas. In your early days, did you pick projects based on the people pitching them to you, or how did that work?
Yeah, I mean, it really was just word of mouth and people I became connected with. I think as time went by, I probably figured out that the quality of the partners is very important in the likelihood of success. So obviously doing something with somebody like yourself, Mark, who's got a long track record and having, a name at the top of the ticket like Mario Lopez being so much more likely to succeed, I think that more recent investments have been better than some of the earlier ones that I did.
That makes sense. Let us know, what do you have coming next? What are you executive producing anything else?
No, I don't have anything currently in the works. I'm just working on Casa Mexico tequila and a couple of other interesting investments that I'm involved with. That's been my main focus.
All right. Well, you're going to get a call offline from Tootie pitching you his Christmas movie, and then I'm
going to let Mickey see Made in Mexico. I made this movie, Mickey, it's going to come out to about $25,000. I got Lilo Brancato as my lead, who was in A Bronx Tale. I got Lopez producing. It's tremendous. And Robert saw it, and he actually got up, rubbed his hands together, licked his lips, and said, "Here's your strategy. You can make a lot of money with this movie." Did you not do that?
I did.
When you finished, when you saw the product?
It's a good movie, Mickey. I think you'll like it.
And then we'll talk after that, so I could prove to you what I'm capable of.
And then I think the three of us should go back to Lifetime and potentially suggest Feliz
Johnny
NaviDAD.
Holiday?
Well, Johnny Holiday first, but Feliz NaviDAD 2 wouldn't be a bad idea considering how much play it got.
Feliz NaviDads.
Feliz NaviDads. There you go. But Mickey, thanks for being on. We appreciate you. Congratulations on your career, on all the great things that you've done, on Feliz NaviDAD being a hit, on bringing Melissa to the project, who she did a really wonderful job on the movie, and on Casa Mexico Tequila, which is going to be an enormous hit because, truth be told, people want to buy tequila from real Mexicans. Let's not kid ourselves.
Let me tell you,
tequila.
It's in the taste, guys.
All right, Mickey. Well, thanks again. I'll let you go back to your boat, and and hopefully we have you on again sometime. Would you mind coming back next year, maybe saying hello?
Be fantastic. We'll do it at the Pink Taco, right?
Yes,
that's
sir.
what I'm talking
Let's
about, in
do
the
it.
tequila room, the Casa Mexico tequila room.
All right, Mickey. Thanks so much. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Mickey.
Cheers. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Hey, so yeah, Mickey Gooch is a true success story.
Yeah.
Went from Wall Street to films. I remember when we were talking to him about Casa Mexico when he was first getting involved, and you could just see him lighting up about the idea of selling a tequila that included Mario and Oscar, and I know he just lit up, and he also actually loves the product. So I think he's an investor who, if he likes something, he'll get involved and he'll do it. And
I think he has to believe in the person or the product, you know what I mean? Like, and he's creative too, so he wants to be hands-on. He's not just here's a check, go do it.
Yeah, and if you're listening, go take that meeting at that restaurant, even if you don't want to. Pitch your little project, even if it's the very end of the meeting, and you never know, you could end up getting it made, because that's what happened. That story I told on the show it's a true story. That's how Feliz NaviDAD got its beginning. But hey, let's talk about extreme music, because on our project, Feliz NaviDAD, which Mickey was an executive producer on, we insisted on. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't insist on using extrememusic.com.
Well, why would you not want to use it? It's
We'd want to, but here's the amazing thing about that is that when I suggested using extrememusic.com, A&E/Lifetime said, "Oh, they're one of our companies. They're one of the companies in our files of companies that we have partnerships with. So anything from Extreme you can use on Feliz NaviDAD."
Perfect.
Bam, there you go.
Perfect.
So if you are doing anything with music, doing a project, you need music, you need a special opening credit sequence song, which, by the way, that's our opening song is an Extreme Music song in the movie.
Feliz NaviDAD?
Feliz NaviDAD. The opening song, the first song you see,
how does it go?
Is Extreme Music.
How does it go?
Dun, 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 dun. I don't remember how it goes. Dun, 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 dun.
That's the Nutcracker, fool.
No, that's right. It wasn't the Nutcracker. It was something good. But I think you can find the Nutcracker on Extreme Music. But hey, shout out to Russ Emanuel for having the best
gotta get Russ back on.
music
We just had him
service in the business. And if you need any music, please check out extrememusic.com. All right, so that was an amazing show.
Great. Yeah, it's a great
I
show.
hope people listened and learned something from that. Don't give up on your dreams. Go out and pitch everyone your projects. You never know what could happen. You might make the next Lifetime Christmas movie that's the big hit, such as Feliz NaviDAD. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Rod Rinks. Who's Rod? Tootie. And thank you, Dave.
Thank you, players.
See you guys next time.
The wait is over. New episodes of The Walking Dead Season 10 are premiering early February 21st on AMC+. Don't miss the extended 10th season featuring 6 new episodes, each focused on fan-favorite characters. Prepare for all-new high-stakes showdowns and emotional reckonings by catching up on the latest season before new episodes drop. With season binges, exclusive content, and early access to new episodes, the best Walking Dead experience is only on AMC+. Get lost in the Walking Dead universe today. Available ad-free and on demand. Sign up at amcplus.com. AMC+. Only the good stuff.